Welcome. #TheVersasHow is part of an entertainment podcast that exercises our freedom of speech. Our conversations, opinions, debate on a certain topic is not to offend anyone in any source. For that being said, enjoy the show.
Yo, what's happening, ladies and gentlemen? What is happening? And welcome to another spectacular special edition here on #TheVersasHow. And of course, I am your host, the one that you have vote, the GOAT, the Versa. And you already know to make sure to do these 3 things. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and you press that bell at the same time. Oh man, what an episode we have here, ladies and gentlemen. And look, we're on episode 81, so you know what that means, right? 19 more episodes until we get to 100. And look, on the 100th episode, I'm going to celebrate with or without people. I'm going to still celebrate the 100th episode because we're only 19 episodes away for episode 100. So you make sure you tell everybody, all right? But here on episode 81 for right now, listen, ladies and gentlemen, still more on Diddy and as well, too, for my wrestling fans and my documentary fans as well. I also saw the Vince McMahon documentary on Netflix, and I'm not gonna really talk too much about it because I'm not gonna hold up your time, but we will get to some details and his storyline about him and his family and the athletes that work beneath Vince McMahon and the company. But other than that, listen, let's go ahead and start with some Diddy. Can't you see? Sometimes you think it concerns me. Anyway, Diddy once again, they said that, well, the news that we got here, and this is on a Monday. So the information that we got so far is that Diddy wasn't eating right, and he felt like some people was going to poison his food, and they thought that, some people was going to go after him. On episode 80, shout out to my boy Muhammad. My boy Muhammad gave me, some of the updates on episode 80, which you guys could check out as well. But other than that, he felt like somebody was trying to go after him on a hit, but that really wasn't the case. But other than that, they said that he's doing pretty well so far. Like, he's okay. He's eating. He's not eating that, that type of food, but they said sometimes he will fast and stuff and he'll eat something light. But it's just the adjustment, I guess, because I said it before. Well, R. Kelly, when he was in jail, like R. Kelly adjusting to the whole entire prison system. Harvey Weinstein as well, too. Not Jeffrey Epstein, but, even Bill Cosby, too, when he was arrested. Like there was times where some of these people, they got to adjust to the system, and I don't want no one to ever go into jail, prison. Just stay out to the free world, free land. Just do right by people, do right by the community, do right by business, and you stay out of trouble. And it's funny because I had this homegirl. She was like, she doesn't understand why there's people that does like fucked up things. And I'm like, look, it's the mentality, it's how they was raised, how they were brought up. And that could be the case with Diddy, even merging with the Vince McMahon documentary. And also too, there's gonna be a documentary about Diddy as well. 50 Cent, he's over here trolling like a motherfucker. Yeah, Diddy is trolling like a motherfucker. But he said he was gonna do a documentary series on Diddy. So let's see how that's going to turn up. I don't know. I think there's speculations as well too that that Netflix was also going to do a Diddy documentary the same way they did a Vince McMahon documentary. So this is going to be quite, interesting, but let's see what happens. Diddy had who knows, he probably had a traumatized life growing up. And from the things that we're seeing from the videos of him with Cassie and him beating up Kim Porter, maybe he been bullied in school. I don't know. But all I know is that they're saying that somebody else is coming forth, saying that he drugged them and raped them against the will. Some people are also backing up Diddy as well too, saying like, yo, he's really like these freaky shits, but I think there is still rules and regulations that we still have to follow by. Regardless, we don't like them. And I know we don't like them. Believe me, I know we don't like them. But at the same time, it's either that or we face the punishment. You feel me? So, but again, I don't wish anyone to go to jail. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't wish that upon my enemies. Just do right. That's it. Like, we all had our traumatizing life, but it would take that somebody, even with this podcast right here, to say, yo, here is this guy that's feeding me positive energy. Yeah, this might be a time where I might say some shit off the limb, but that's just my feelings. But I'll still tell him at the end of the show, look, just get some healing, get some help, and everybody else that really supports you is going to be down for you. So, hey, but Diddy's adjusting. At the same time, he got more allegations coming forth. So let's just see what happens. All right. But like I said, I'm not here to really bargain up your time. Appreciate you viewing #TheVersaShow. Subscribe too. Subscribe, like, subscribe, comment, tell your friends about it. But anyway, also I just want to get into some documentary talk. You know what I'm saying? Some little documentary talk. The Vince McMahon documentary came out on September 25th on Netflix. I don't know if some documentary fans are out there. I don't know if you have seen some of it. I heard it has some million views on Netflix. Vince McMahon was not happy about the documentary, but I mean, I was like, well, what did you expect? I mean, this is not your brand that's filming your documentary. This is Netflix, the brand that you signed a $9 billion contract to, and all my stockholders, Netflix, by 2025. But you should know what they was going to put together. You know what I'm saying? Like, you should have, Vince, you're a very smart, very intelligent person when it comes to business, when it comes to being creative, and also just kind of seeking through the future. And there's times that, we could be wrong or we could be right. But you do know that these Netflix guys was going to say, hey, listen, the sex scandal case is out there. We got to put this on too. Because if we're talking about Vince McMahon's legacy, this is part of his legacy. And that's another thing. When the question was asked to like Undertaker, John Cena, Triple H, and others, and they asked them the question like, what is Vince McMahon's legacy? And they don't know. Like, oh, that's a good one. That's a tough one. I don't know. I thank God that they had Tony Atlas on that documentary, because me and him, before he even said it, I said it first. Well, he said it first on the documentary, but I'm just saying, it's like when I was watching the documentary, when they asked Tony Atlas what should be Vince McMahon's legacy, and his answer was the greatest promoter of all time. And I was like, even he said it. Like, Vince is the greatest promoter of all time, hands down. He took a company that's probably was worth, when Vince Sr. got to it from however he bought the promotion, it was probably worth like, who knows, $300,000 to $400,000. And Vince turned that company into a $1 billion profit. So big shout out to Vince for that, man. Vince, how he is with the whole organization running businesses and corporates, that was a really big deal. So, man, but there's a few things I want to address with Vince McMahon. When he brought the company from his father, I thought that was pretty dope. He did a year payment. I believe he said it was 3 months, then another 3 months, and another 3 months. So that's already 9 years, or a year. So then another 3 months. He said if he missed a payment, then you could keep the money, but not only you could keep the money, but you could also keep the business too. And Vince Sr. was like, oh, that's like music to my ears. Hell yeah. Boy, was Vince Sr. was wrong. And he didn't think Vince Jr. could do it. But he did. And also too, when Vince was over here in 1984 and 85, and he was taking talent from other territories, the thing that I couldn't understand really was like, he was getting their talent and shipping them over to the WWF at the time, the World Wrestling Federation. He was shipping them over to his company. And then when WCW was getting hot at the time, when they already recuperated Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage, then he got Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. Then Vince was like, wait a minute, hold up, no. You guys are taking my talent stuff. I'm going to sue you guys. Damn. And it's like, Vince, come on, man. You did the same thing, okay? Just a slight twist. But at the same time, you did the same thing, all right? Like, you was taking other people's talent away from their territories, regardless that they couldn't even fund their territory. And you could have, but still, you did the same exact thing. And you ran them out of business, and they couldn't feed their families. So when Ted Turner opened up his checkbook, which was more powerful than your company, no disrespect, but for a fact that's the truth. Now all of a sudden it's like, oh man, like karma just knocked on my door. I don't like it. Well, just like you said, you was competing. They were pretty much competing. Regardless, you want to say that they were hurting your business? No, man. Competition. That's part of competition. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. But that's the difference between a win and a loss. A loss, you're gonna feel that hurt, that pain. That win, you're gonna feel that victory, that glorious. But then in 2001, when you brought WCW, I mean, that felt like a win, right? You wasn't over here like, oh, well, I'm going to sue WCW for taking Bret Hart as well, too, and turn him into the man that I made him. Nope. Because you were starting to win. You felt the victory, and you said, fuck all that. I'm the man. You should have felt that way, too, when he was taking Kevin Nash and Scott Hall. But other than that, it was a great documentary. I've seen it like 4 or 5 times, 1 through 6. It was a pretty good documentary. I didn't know that Vince McMahon, and I'm sorry for all the people who haven't seen it. This is a little spoiler, so oh well. I did not know that Vince McMahon Jr. met his father, Vince McMahon Sr. at the age of 12. And Vince said that he never knew his last name was McMahon until he was 12 years old. I never knew that. That was an interesting fact. And, Vince thought that, he was going to get that big hug, like, oh. And then Vince Sr. was like, okay, kid. And then Vince Jr. was like, that's different. But he fell in love with his father because it was like this glow about him. As Paul Heyman described, he was the Pope of New York. Paul, this guy, the Pope of New York. Remember that. But then they start talking about the not the sex allegations, but when Owen was killed from the Sky Rafter to the ring, the time that he screwed over Bret Hart, and I believe her name was Wendy Richter. He screwed her over. And then the steroids allegations as well too, which he was found not guilty. And then creating the Attitude Era. That's when I became a wrestling fan. Shout out to Hardcore, you know what I'm saying, and Sharon. Sharon and Corey. Shout out to them. Norma and them, Uncle Calvin. But I remember Corey, right? He was speaking of Uncle Calvin, you know, he's right over here as the fourth cameraman. Hold up, so everybody can see Uncle Calvin right here as my cameraman. Oh, sorry, excuse me, I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, my uncle right here, man. Yeah, fourth camera guy. So anyway, Corey would sit down in Uncle Kelvin's room, and he would have like milk and oatmeal cookies, and it would be like, this was like late 97, I'll say late 97, because I remember like this guy would come out in a vest and people would go crazy. And I'm like, who is this guy? This bald-headed guy. And, you know, matter of fact, here's a good story that I highly remember. And, you know, I remember going to Corey's room because, you know, he had the video games and stuff like that. And I never forget when he had these T-shirts. And he had one T-shirt that it was a bald-headed guy with a vest. He was going like this. And with the hands, it was like the snakes. And I was like, who's this guy? And there was another T-shirt he had. It was another bald-headed guy with a goatee, but it had like some kind of like designs like this here and stuff. You know, and all the wrestling fans know who I'm talking about, Goldberg. So I was like, who is this guy? And I'm thinking maybe that guy is Stone Cold Steve Austin, but it was two different guys. So my cousin was a huge fan of Sting, Hollywood Hulk Hogan, the NWO, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Goldberg, Booker T, DX, Shawn Michaels, Mankind, D'Lo Brown, the Nation of Domination with Farouk, The Rock, Godfather, Mark Henry, and Owen Hart. Rest in peace, Owen Hart. The Hart Foundation as well too. Bret Hart, Brian Pillman, British the Bulldog, Jim the Ned Hart, Brian Pillman. I think I said his name already, Brian Pillman. You know, so the Hart Foundation, those were the people that I was raised around, the Attitude Era, The Undertaker, Kane, who else? You know, Road Dogg and Billy Gunn, you know. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, D Generation X proudly brings to you its 6 times WWF Tag Team Champions of the World, the Road Dogg Jesse James, the badass Billy Gunn, the New Age Outlaws. And then, you know, Billy Gunn with the mic. And if you're not down with that, we only got 2 words for you. Sake. Like, yo, that time at the Attitude Era, man, that was fun. You know, China too, rest in peace. With China, Triple H, as well, Vince McMahon himself. So back to the whole documentary was like, and The Rock, I gotta mention The Rock too, in the Attitude Era, The Rock. But Ken Shamrock, I mean the list goes on. Like Michael Blackson, not Michael Blackson, sorry, Steve Blacksman, sorry. Michael Blacksman, the comedian, like that dark motherfucker was there too. They call him Midnight. No, but Steve Blackman also too. Man, it was like a huge list. Man, I could go on and on with these Attitude Eras. The APA, the Hardy Boys, Edge and Christian, the Dudley Boys. Like Vince had it, man, when it came with the rosters. Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, Matt Hart. When I said Matt Hardy already, excuse me. The Hurricane. Remember, standing back, there's a hurricane coming through. Rosie, rest in peace to Rosie. Gainwell, you know, oh man, like Vince took the talents and he built a story around them. And I think that's what certain wrestling missed out on, the territories, the AWAs, the Stampede Wrestling, even Memphis Wrestling. They were just wrestlers. Like, okay, the difference between Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair is that Hulk Hogan was an entertainer as a wrestler. Ric Flair was a pro wrestler. Ric Flair could do an hour match an hour and 10 match, even if it's a 25-minute match, it will be a entertaining, well, not entertaining, but to the fans, but still, it will be one great wrestling match you get from Ric Flair. Hulk Hogan, he's more entertaining. You know, you punch him, he's like, oh no, brother. And then, you know, the pointed fingers, no. And then, you know, the whole leg drop thing and the rip the t-shirt and off. So he was more entertaining for the crowds. And that was what Vince McMahon was aiming for. I didn't know that he was trying to make Dusty Rhodes champion, but then he kind of swapped it over to Hulk Hogan. But I thought putting Dusty Rhodes as world champion would have been dope. At least one time. You know, like Ric Flair. You know, when Ric Flair crossed over to the WWE because WCW was playing with Ric Flair's character, Vince was like, shit, here you go. Take the world title. I know what you could do with this world title, so here you go. And then, you know, it was a great documentary between Vince and Netflix. I thought it was a good documentary. Some people said that they were trying to put a dagger in Vince's legacy. I'm going to be real with you. Vince's legacy, to me, and I agree with Tony Atlas, the greatest promoter of all time. But on the other side of the coin, I would say is that Vince's legacy as well is a man that has a creative vision, a idea, and there was no stopping him. He was going straight forward. You couldn't stop that man with a train. He was like, yo, this is the plan. I'm going to do this plan regardless you like it or not. It's going to happen. So, you know, all I know is that his legacy as well on the other side of the coin is that he's a creative genius as well. A highly creative genius. The superstars that I have named before, those came under Vince. Same way as Razor Ramon and Diesel, which was Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, that moved over to WCW. You know, they were pretty much built around Vince McMahon. And Kevin Nash and Scott Hall was in WCW, then went to WWE. But before WWE, there was a nobody. You know, I mean, Scott Hall was Diamond Stud, and Kevin Nash had a whole bunch of character vignettes, you know, Vinny Vegas and Oz. But when they got to Vince was like, you know, well, Scott Hall was like, hey, listen, have you seen the movie Scarface? And Vince was like, no. He's like, well, get a catch of that movie Scarface. Vince seen Scarface, and then next thing you know, Vince was like, okay, yeah, I can see you as that type of person. All right. And then, hey, Chico, Razor Ramon, the machismo. Razor Ramon was created. Diesel came in as Shawn Michaels' bodyguard. The next thing you know, he just became like this whole, you know, Big Daddy Diesel and the world champion. So all that because of Vince. So for anyone who wants to discriminate Vince and his legacy, you could go right ahead, so be it. But to me, his legacy is the greatest promoter of all time and a greatest creative genius too. So great documentary from Netflix. There's other documentary from Netflix as well too that I got to catch up on. But once I've seen Vince McMahon documentary, I was like all in. You know, man, I went to shout out to Anthony's Deli over in Mamaroneck and Rye. They make the best deli sandwich in the world. DELI sandwich, okay? The best deadly, not deadly, you know, like the deli sandwich. The best, man. So I went over there, got me a nice good sandwich and some chips, some a drink, and what else? I got 2 Rice Krispie treats too. You know what I'm saying? They low calories, chill. But got all that, went home, worked out for a little bit, took a shower, rolled up a nice good Versa joint, smoked that, and then went straight to the room, went on Netflix, and turned on that Vince McMahon documentary. And I was at first I was like, I don't like documentaries when it's like episode 1 and then you got to catch episode 2 next week, episode 3 the week after. Man, just give me the whole thing, please. Because if so, I could use each episode. Okay, that's episode 1. I'm gonna watch episode 2 next week. I'm gonna watch episode 3 the following week. Give me the whole thing, man. Let me map it out myself, okay? But I'm happy that they released all 6 episodes. They said that it was supposed to be like an 8 through 10 episodes, but from the sex scandal, they have to stop all that. But from 1 through 6, man, I had that sandwich ready with that chips, and that documentary was on. It was good. I thought it was pretty good. But catch it on Netflix. If you don't have Netflix, make sure you get Netflix. So it's a good documentary. Vince McMahon, man, that guy, he did some crazy shit in the WWE. When he kissed Trish Stratus in front of his wife, I was like, oh, I remember that too. I remember that episode. But at that time, that happened in probably 2001 or 2. So I was about 9. So I didn't know Linda at the time was Vince's wife. So I was like, oh no, my God, the disgust on this man. But even finding out that Linda was on it was pretty cool too, because she told Trish, like, the scene where Trish and Vince was at the house with Linda, she was like drugged up, and Linda told Trish, like, yeah, just kiss me on my forehead, because that's gonna get the people mad. That's really gonna bring heat. And so she was on it. So shout out to Linda, man. Linda McMahon. She knows business. And I thought it was kind of, you can't stop love. Love doesn't have an age. It doesn't. Regardless what anybody want to say, it doesn't have an age, okay? But for Vince to know Linda from 16 to 13, Vince was 16, Linda was 13. I thought that was pretty interesting as well too. And then they got married when he was 17, and she was she was 17, and Vince was 20. So I thought that was pretty dope, So love at first sight, right? 2 amazing kids. Shane McMahon is Stephanie McMahon. Shane was a wild one. Woo! Here comes the money. Money talks. Here comes the money. Money, 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 money. Dollar, 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 dollar. Yo, he had a theme song too. Stephanie McMahon too, when she was with Triple H. Oh man, that was just, man. Look, regardless of what you want to say about wrestling, oh, it's fake. Oh, it's this and that. It's for children and stuff. I look at wrestling as a Dave & Buster's. All right. It's for kids and adults. Okay. You go in there. There's games for the kids. There's a bar for the men's and the women. All right. Everybody is enjoying themselves. They're having a thrill. They're having an excitement. And they're having memories that they could take home with them. All right. I just so happened to become a wrestling fan because, once again, my cousin Corey, I just got caught up into the SCU, the Stone Cold University, in 1997. So I just got caught up with the whole Austin 316, and the girls were showing their breasts and stuff, So I was caught up in that era, and from there I just loved wrestling. I went to House of Glory. I went there to train for a little bit. It was fun to be in the ring, to touch the ropes, to feel the ropes and stuff, to get body slammed. It was awesome. At the same time, even though it got to the PG era, I think that what pretty much demolished the whole, wrestling's cool because, it was like for the kids, And I didn't really watch wrestling during that time because it was just boring. I'm like, ugh, this is wrestling. Ugh. But then when the Shield came around, Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, then that's when wrestling started to pick up. And I believe because of Triple H, him being CCO, or COO at the time, whatever, I felt like Triple H really brought pro wrestling back into the world wrestling entertainment. You know, Finn Balor, Braun Strowman, rest in peace to Bray Wyatt. Then he brought Shinsuke Nakamura. Then he signed AJ Styles. Then Roman Reigns went on solo. Dean Ambrose went on solo. Seth Rollins went on solo. Then there was the women's evolution. Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks, where she's now Mercedes Moné. She's Mercedes Moné. My girl Bailey. Then there was who else? Oh, Paige. You know, and Ronda Rousey, but like that's when wrestling was like, oh, okay, now it's back on the map. Now wrestling is really back on the map with Cody Rhodes, Jey Uso, the Judgment Day, and even with Dominic Mysterio, he's doing a great job as a heel, and Liv Morgan, they're doing fantastic. Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley doing their thing. Over in SmackDown, Solo Sikoa's doing his thing. Randy Orton and Kevin Owens doing their thing. So wrestling is really popping right now. So I'm happy about that. And CM Punk, man. My man CM Punk is back on the track. And I hope he doesn't get injured too with Drew McIntyre. Bobby Lashley's supposed to go over to AEW. MVP is over at AEW. Ricochet is over at AEW. Will Ospreay is at AEW. Daniel Bryan is AEW World Champion. Swerve Strickland is over at AEW. Like, wrestling couldn't be better than what it is in this generation. So, anyway, go out, see the Vince McMahon documentary. You know what I'm saying? But let me go ahead and close the show because I don't want to hold you guys up again. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Versus Final Word. Versus Final Word is real simple and real easy. Again, if you guys want to do all these little freak parties and all that, just make sure that they are consensual, all right? Make sure you're not doing it against somebody's will. Versus make sure that it is, you know, somewhere that everybody's enjoying themselves, okay? Don't get in trouble. Do the right thing. Stay a healthy mindset. And whatever it takes for you guys and you're traumatized, or if you're battling demons, don't be afraid to seek help, okay? Don't be scared to seek help. Go out and seek help, whatever it can to get your mindset correct, all right? Don't end up like a Diddy. Don't end up like a R. Kelly. Don't end up like a Harvey Weinstein, a Jeffrey Epstein. None of them. Just do right. Focus on your craft. Focus on your business. Focus on growing your money. Focus on building your mindset correctly. Focus on a better relationship with your spouse, with your family, with God. Focus on building. Physically, your body too. Work on yourself. And watch the best gravitate towards you. The opportunities will start gravitating towards you. All right? So, be careful having all these little freak offs and all that. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you so much for watching #TheVersa Show. And you should already do these 3 things. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and you press that bell at the same time. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for viewing #TheVersa Show. And if you are new to this channel, you make sure that you just subscribe now to the #TheVersa Show channel. And listen, there's still more to come. Like I said, we got 19 more episodes to reach 100. So you guys make sure that, you know, when we reach the 100 episode, I give you guys an update. And if you still want more intake and you still want more of the #TheVersa Show, just make sure that you DM the Versa on his Instagram. And I promise you, I will get through your questions, or you could be part of the show. So y'all should already know, okay? But anyway, I'm gonna let you guys go, and I thank you for your viewership, and you should already know what this is. It's the best podcast around, and I am the Versa. And I see you guys on another episode here on hashtag The Versus Show. 19 more episodes left to 100. And I see you with peace into the Middle East. What's happening, ladies and gentlemen? I thank you for watching the latest episode on hashtag The Versus Show. For more new episodes, you make sure that you like, subscribe, and you press that bell for more new episodes. And if you have any questions to ask, to get my intake, my answer on this show, make sure that you add me on Instagram at The Versa. And also, too, can't forget to follow, too, so press that button as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for watching. Until next time, hashtag The Versus Show, the best podcast around.